Hey guys, this is test 63, game 3. This is the vehicles game. It's an ordering game. We know this because the vehicles HLP RSV are placed on one of 6 days of the week, and of course, days have an inherent order to them. Now, I've laid out a bunch of rules here, but don't worry, I'm going to explain all of those. They tell us that at least one thing is later than H, which is a very roundabout way of telling us that H cannot be last, so I put down not H under S. They tell us that R is later than V, and is earlier than H, giving us the general ordering VRH. Next, they tell us that P and V touch or P and S touch, but not both. So I wrote down what it would look like if P and V touched or if P and S touched, and then the but not both is covered by the VPS SPV with slashes through them. Then finally, they tell us that S is either later than P or earlier than P or earlier than L, but not both, telling us essentially that S is in between P and L, although we don't know exactly where. So because we have the general ordering VRH, I was able to infer that neither V nor R could be last, and S cannot be last because S is earlier than one of P or L. So all of this builds up to tell us that none of H, R, S, or V can be on Saturday, which only leaves from the general list of variables P and L. So one of those two things will be Saturday. Now, of course, there are a lot of other restrictions that I could have mapped out as well. I chose not to simply because it would take too long. This is our initial setup for the game right here. We'll do a lot more drawing over the course of the game. Now, question number 11 is a typical orientation question. We just want to take one rule at a time and apply that rule to all 5 choices looking for violations. So, for example, we know that at least one of P or L will have to be on Saturday. Scanning through the choices, we find that choice A has neither P nor L on Saturday, so as such, that A can be eliminated. We can also eliminate choice C because it has H on Saturday, and we know that at least one thing has to come later than it. So for that reason, C is gone. Next, we can use the rule that P always has to touch exactly one of V or S. And if you look through the choices, you'll find that choice D violates this, having P touching neither V nor S, so D can be eliminated. Finally, the rule that S is between P and L, and we find that S, in choice E, S is earlier than both of P and L, so for that reason, E can be eliminated, leaving B as our answer for number 11. Next, number 12, which vehicle cannot be the one serviced on Thursday? So of course, we have not mapped any kind of restriction here, and even if we did, it would not have been that helpful, simply because they're testing something rather subtle here. Now, I want to think about what's involved in orders, and the only variables involved in concrete orders are V, R, and H. And so I want to focus on V and H because they're the variables that are on the endpoints of this sequence here. We know that H could be on Thursday because then V and R could easily come earlier than it. But for V to be on Thursday, that would run into a problem for us because if V was on Thursday, we'd have to have R on Friday and then no room for H on Saturday because we have to have either P or L there. So for this reason, V on Thursday is impossible and is our answer to number 12. Next, number 13, if neither P nor L was on Monday, what must be true? So if neither P nor L was on Monday, I'll just write that down right here. Let's think about what could be on Monday as a result. So I've eliminated P and L from the running. I know that neither R nor H could be on Monday because they have to have V before them, so I'm eliminating them as well. S cannot be on Monday ever because we know that it has to have one of LP before it. So S is gone. That really only leaves V to be on Monday. It's the only variable left. And so when they ask us what must be true, the V on Monday, choice C is our answer to this question. Once we learned that V would be on Monday, I would just immediately look at the choices for that inference because that's really the most obvious inference that results from this. So C is our answer to number 13. Next, number 14, if L was not on Saturday. So if L is not Saturday, that leaves P to be on Saturday. And we know that we have to have L before S as a result happening here because we're not going to have P before S, of course. Now, we also have the general order V before R before H. Now, it's not going to be possible to have V touching S because V has to go too early. We are going to have, we're not going to be able to have V touching P because V has to come before both R and H. Therefore, S will have to come to touch P on Friday, and then aside from that, we will have L as well as V before R before H happening on the slots that remain. So they're asking us here, could be true except. So we could find the 4 things that could be true and eliminate them, and whatever remains will be our answer, or we could just look for something that cannot be true if it jumps out at us. So I want to look for something mentioning S because that is the only concrete must that we have where we're ending up on a particular day, aside from P on Saturday, of course. And we do find, in fact, choice E, S on Wednesday, to be impossible and referring to S because S has to be on Friday. It could never be on Wednesday, so as such, E is our answer to number 14, and A through D are all things that could be true simply regarding the particular layout of V, R, H, and L. Next, number 15, if S was earlier than P. So S before P, of course, gives us the general ordering L, S, P, of course not necessarily adjacent though. We end up with a result that's identical to what we had for number 14. P's got to be the one on Saturday, L cannot because L is going too early. So P's going to be on Saturday. We're not going to be able to have V touch P because we have V coming before both R and H. So as a result, once again, S is on Friday. We have L floating around Monday through Thursday, and then the general VRH going on those days as well in some order. So same result. They're testing something similar, of course, only they're asking about could be true rather than could be true except. So we're going to look for one of those ambiguous things like we had as the wrong answers in 14, although there are many things that could be true here. Could L be Wednesday? Yeah, L could be anywhere Monday through Thursday, so A is our answer to 15. And if you look at B, C, D, E, of course, S Wednesday is impossible, S is on Friday, B's gone. Looking at C, the V on Wednesday can't happen because then it wouldn't be able to fit both R and H after it, so that's gone. Looking at D, H on Friday, of course, we have S on Friday, so D's gone. Then looking at E, L Saturday is impossible because we're going to have P on Saturday, leaving A if you didn't get it before. Next, number 16, if L was on Saturday. So now they're going the other route, forcing us to put L on Saturday rather than P on Saturday. And so if L's on Saturday, of course, we're going to have the general ordering P, S, L in this case. So we've got P before S, as well as V, R, H going on Monday through Friday, 2 separate sequences that are not really connecting here. And we don't really know whether V is going to touch P or P is going to touch S. We don't really know how that's going to be fleshed out. So let's just look for what they're asking us here. What must be true? P before S? Of course, in choice B is our answer. P before R, we don't know, so that's ambiguous. P could go before or after R, but P before S is guaranteed due to the PSL order that we inferred. So B is our answer to 16. All the other things don't have to be true. It's open-ended. Finally, number 17. This is a partial orientation question. They're only giving us portions of the week rather than the full week, so it's a little bit tougher for that reason, but we can still tackle it. Unfortunately, though, process of elimination, just like for number 11, is what we're going to have to use here. Only we can't really work by elimination based on rules because things are too open-ended. We'll have to evaluate each choice instead, one at a time. So if we look at choice A, it mentions both P and L on Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. That's unacceptable because we need to have one of P or L on Saturday. As such, A is impossible and we can eliminate it. Next, looking at B, nothing's apparently wrong with it. That's actually our answer. I'll skip it and come back to it. Next, looking at C, we have S and L on Tuesday, Wednesday, therefore P would have to come earlier than them on Monday. That's unacceptable because we would not have either of P or L on Saturday. So as such, C can be eliminated kind of for the same reason as A, only it's not as obvious. Next, looking at D, if we had VLH, what would happen then? Well, if we had V on Tuesday and H on Friday, we would have to have R on Thursday. I'll just lay it out here. So we have V Tuesday, L Wednesday, H Friday, then we have to have R on Thursday. And the problem here then is that we'll have to have P on Saturday. S would have to come earlier than both L and P, violating this rule over here. So for that reason, D is no good. Then finally E, VRL, I'll draw that one out as well. So we got V on Tuesday, R on Wednesday, L on Friday. Then we'd have to have H on Thursday, of course, because H can never go on Saturday. And then how are we going to have S between both P and L? S would either be earlier than both of them, or later than both of them. Either way, it just wouldn't work. So for that reason, E is eliminated, and B is our answer for 17 if you didn't get it before.